Music is all around us, from cars honking in the street to a country ballad or rap song. However, classical music has been pushed aside from what today's generation is familiar with because it's considered uncool. Today, let's go back to the 1700s and learn about one of the greatest musical composers of all time, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. First, we will tune our piano and learn about the history of Mozart. Then we will warm up with scales and arpeggios and learn about some of his compositions. And finally, we will learn about how Mozart has influenced music today. Mozart was born into a musical family on January 27th, 1756. By the time he was 5, he was reading and writing music. He also would perform for people with his talents on the keyboard. By the time he was 6, he was composing his first compositions and was by this time considered to be a rare musical talent. He then went on tour with his dad until he was 15. However, he wanted to find a post away from home, so when it was time to go back, he decided to keep touring with his mother. Eventually, the pair reached Paris, where his mother grew ill and died. This then caused him to accept a job as home court of Salzburg. This job, however, didn't really suit him as he kept getting in fights with the archbishop there. So he then moved to Vienna in 1781, where he met Constance Weber, whom he later married against the strict orders of his father. This put a real strain on his and his father's relationship. While living in Vienna, Mozart found it hard to make a successful living through his poor mismanagement of money and his oftentimes tactless, impulsive, and childish behavior. Also by this time, Mozart was seriously ill with kidney disease, which was most likely due to his drinking. He died at the age of 35 on December 5th, 1791. Now, let's learn about some of his compositions. Mozart composed over 600 works in his life, including 15 masses, over 50 symphonies, 27 sonatas, 17 arias, 25 piano and 12 violin concertos, 26 string quartets, and many other pieces. His first composition was a Dante in C, and he wrote this when he was 6. Some of his most famous pieces are A Little Night Music, The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, and The Magic Flute. The last piece that he ever composed was Requiem in D minor. However, this was left incomplete due to his death. This piece was later finished by one of his students, Franz Xavier Süssemeyer. People wanted a way to keep track of Mozart's music long after he was gone, so they put the letter K, the cultural catalog number, on the piece of music and put a number after it. This not only helped us improve our dates of individual works, but also the authenticity of individual works. This is according to the Music of Mozart, published in 2011. Now let's learn about how Mozart has influenced music today. Since Mozart's time, there have been many composers, and many of those composers express a great appreciation of Mozart. One composer, Rossini, stated, "He is the only person to have as much genius as knowledge and as much knowledge as a genius." Probably the most influenced by Mozart was Beethoven. He showed a great admiration for the composer. What really inspired people about the way Mozart would write his music was how he would write it with a single melodic line followed by a chordal underpining. This made it so that each section of an orchestra had its own part, and each part was brought together beautifully. You can even find Mozart's influence in today's music, such as Like You by Kellis and Lacrimosa by Evanescence. Today, Mozart is still honored and celebrated around the world as being a great composer. This is according to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, published in 2014. Today, we tuned our piano and learned about the history of Mozart. Then we warmed up with scales and arpeggios and learned about some of his compositions. And finally, we brought back the cool and learned about how he has influenced music today. Mozart had a short life, but in his short life, he had many accomplishments. Two of those accomplishments were going on tour with his father and creating over 600 works. In the end, Mozart truly was an amazing and wonderful composer.